Okay, well, April is Organ Donation Awareness Month, and before the campaign wraps up, we thought you should hear a couple of stories of people intimately impacted by organ donation. We're joined this afternoon by Jaime Watt and Bob Reed, a couple of longtime friends. Now, in February of last year, Jaime received a kidney from a living donor, and just a couple of months ago, Bob became a living donor when he gave a kidney to his ailing sister-in-law. Thank you both for being here. Really appreciate your time. Jaime, I'll start with you here. You 13 months ago, you received a new kidney. I mean, what did that do to your life? I mean, it saved your life, didn't it?
Well, it did everything for my life. I don't even know how to explain it. I have a feeling today of which I have no memory. I never remember feeling like as good as I feel today.
Wow.
If I went to a new doctor today, she would have no idea I had a kidney transplant unless she took an x-ray. 13 months ago, I did 500 steps a day. I just was in London, I did 20,000.
Remarkable.
That's the difference. It's actually everything.
Absolutely. I can only imagine that. And Bob, you sort of gave the gift of life, as it were, by being a living donor. I've experienced that in my family as well. But why don't you tell your story? Because it's not easy to do. I mean, it's easy, but it's you know.
Yeah, there's a lot to it.
Yeah.
It's about a 6-month process from the time you sort of put your hand up and say, I'm interested in seeing if I might be a match, if I might be a good donor. There's an incredible amount of testing and screening that's done, not only to make sure that you're a match, but also that you're fully healthy, that you don't have any underlying condition that you might not be aware of that could be complicating down the road if you only have one kidney going forward. So one of the bonuses that I got out of it is I have more personal health information than most people ever get in their lifetime.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And how is your sister-in-law doing, by the way?
Fantastic.
Right, it's been a couple of months.
Yep. And it's night and day. She was barely eating. She was so debilitated at the time of the transplant. My brother said as soon as she got home from the hospital, it was breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Incredible. Yeah, that's got to feel so great, right? I mean, being an organ donor and helping save someone's life, and being a recipient and being on the other end of it, Jaime, it just must feel remarkable to think that someone cared enough to give you a part of them.
I can't even think about it too much, Nick. They are the heroes. My partner who gave me his kidney, Bob, who gave his sister-in-law a kidney, they're the heroes, right? And you know, you said the gift of life, and it's a slogan, right? And that really pisses me off sometimes because it's not a slogan. It really is the gift of life. It actually is the gift of life. This person walks into the hospital perfectly healthy, gets into a little blue nightie, lies down and lets them take an organ out of their body so that, and when that organ was put in my body, during the transplant, on the table, it started to work. It was doing its job, producing urine, before I was stapled shut and woke up.
Wow. That's amazing that you are aware of that and understand that. I mean, so let's talk about this. When did you know that you had kidney problems? Like, how did that realization happen?
Well, kidney disease happens differently for different people. For me, I had an incident 5 years ago when I had renal failure. I fought back from that. But at that time, I had what was called end-stage kidney disease, which is a one-way trip to a bad place. Either you do nothing and you die because you have to have your kidney function, or you go on dialysis, which for me would have been 20, 25 hours a week at the hospital, which would be challenging. Lots of people cope with that. It'd be pretty challenging. Or you get a transplant.
Right, absolutely. And Bob, you know, what would you say to someone who is considering this, has heard, you know, I've got a friend or a loved one, or maybe even a stranger that needs a kidney? What would you say to someone? I mean, you're sitting here living proof that you can be a donor and you can live a great life.
Live a great life, live an unchanged life. There are no lasting repercussions for me. I have to make no changes in my life any different from what it was before going forward. There are no health risks for the donor outside of the surgery, which, you know, always carries risk with it. But it's such a life changer, really, for both parties. It's changed my life in beneficial ways as well. So I would encourage anybody who might be in a position to be a living donor to at least look into it, get the information, find out everything you can, and take it from me. It's doable, and it's a wonderful thing. And at the very least, go to beadonor.ca and register to be a posthumous donor. That's the easy ask of people. When you're no longer using your parts, they can save lives.
Yeah, when you don't need them. Right, exactly.
My partner calls it a vacation with mild discomfort.
Okay, yeah.
I think it might be a little more than that, but that's what he says. He says it's a vacation with mild discomfort.
And have you spoken, Jaime, with other organ, like, you know, donor kidney recipients and sort of talked to them about the experience? And what's that sort of community like? How would you describe that?
Well, everybody has exactly the same experience. Everybody is sicker than they actually realize. You're actually really, really sick. You're amongst the sickest people in the hospital.
Right.
Everybody says the moment you wake up, the moment you come out of your anesthetic, you have surgical pain. Obviously, you've had 8 hours or so of surgery, but everyone says you have this amazing amount of clarity. I see you're wearing eyeglasses right now. Remember the first time you put them on?
Yes,
and you
I
went,
do.
wow,
Yeah.
right? Well, that's how you feel, your whole body feels.
Really?
You wake up and you go, wow, because all of a sudden this organ that hadn't been doing its job starts to do it. And so they all feel that. And then everybody says they've got complications along the way, right? It's not an easy trip. Everybody has a little bit of a setback here and there, but everyone says the same thing, that the result you get, you can't even, it's the price you pay isn't even close to what you get.
Well, listen, Jamie, I'm glad you're here to talk about this. Really appreciate your time this afternoon. Bob, congratulations on what you did. Such an absolutely generous, selfless thing to do. So appreciate both of your time today.
The hero.
Thank you so much. Okay, really appreciate this.